And good morning on your February the 16th at 5:39 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Cornbread Man, Dave in the AM, kicking your Monday off. Hope you had a great weekend. It was a rainy weekend in the southeastern United States. I think for the most part, all across the whole, all up into the Northeast even. But a lot of rain, not heavy, not storms, just steady rain. But the weather is absolutely fabulous as far as that. The temperatures are rising. We're going to hit 60s, close to 70 today. I think 70s, in the 70s tomorrow. I think it's 60s today, 71 tomorrow, something like that. Weather is really turning. The long range forecast only shows a couple of days, not even during the day, but at night, that could dip back down in the low 30s, lower 30s, not even the lowest. I think that unless something crazy system pops up, I think maybe, just maybe, we're past the worst the old wintertime has. And so happy about that. Again, I hope you had a great weekend. It was a really good Daytona 500. We're going to be talking about that tonight on the sports show and the racing show. We do have a guest tonight. Michael Lippe will be on with us for the racing hour, the Dirt Report, as we talk about racing and all those good things about that. I communicated with him late yesterday, and he is still scheduled to be in with us. And so looking forward to that. We've got a lot of interviews coming up. We hope to have a really special interview. All of them are special, but one that is a little different for us when we reached a little higher. And I think we've got it. We had to get some approvals, but we hope to announce that very early this week. We had to wait till Daytona was over and verify some things, look at the schedule. We don't want to announce anything. We're just telling you, though, we are trying to get, we'll just say that we're trying to get up in the NASCAR itself, NASCAR proper, and with some interviews. And I think we may have succeeded, not on the level we're going to attain, but on a level that was pretty cool, and from a perspective that we have not ever interviewed before. And so we'll say that. We're not saying anybody, a team, or anybody in what that role is yet, but we hope to have that. And thanks to Dean for all the hard work that he's put into that. Gave him some things to go and ask about, and he did. And I think we're good. So we got a bunch of interviews coming. We've probably got with what he added. We probably got 10 to 12 interviews that are on the way for the racing hour. It was an amazing race. We'll talk about it tonight. I won't spend a lot of time there this morning. How you doing, John Martin? We won't talk a lot about it this morning. We got morning things we want to do, but it was a great race. And how about on the birthday of Michael Jordan, it becomes he won the biggest race of all with Reddick, who needed that win. It was a lot of people could have won there at the end. That's typical Daytona. I mean, cars coming across the finish line in reverse, wrecked cars, spinning cars, and he navigates through that. Hadn't been talked about really all day. And wow, what a celebration. That's pretty dang cool. Wasn't the driver I wanted to win, but I like Reddick. And there was obviously some great disappointment across some of the leaders. One big wreck, 17 cars involved. There were 3 wrecks, but one really big one, 17 cars. And so, good morning. Yes, happy President's Day. You beat me to it. That's good, Sky Blue. It is President's Day, so the banks and schools are closed today. The granddaughter is staying with her mom, and so she'll be coming back today. But it is President's Day, and there is a couple of other national days we want to get to. But first, we do want to do our. Let me find out where I put it. We'll pop it on screen. We want to do our Bible verse of the day, and it's coming up right now. And here you go. I like the pictures with them. That's why I like to show them. I like the pictures with them. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer, from Psalms 19:14. Even if a person were not, and there's a lot of people who are not per se, Christians, but if a person was not, and they just wanted to be inspired, if you read just the Psalms, you're going to be blessed just by reading the Psalms. It's just an amazing collection of 150 of those. So amazing. Best President's Day ever. Presidents taking names, kicking butt, and trying to get some things done. We're going to talk about news here in just a moment. Um, let's look at what's the next thing on the National Day. I was going to look at National Day since it is President's Day. It is also Almond Day. Almonds are good for you. Almond milk and almonds a little bit better. I'm a person that likes peanuts, so if you like peanuts, sometimes they're not good for me. I mean, one time I thought I was developing an allergy to them. I was having some trouble, and come to find out, it was sometimes when you start having some trouble, you start trying to figure out what that thing is that's bothering you. And I was having a lot of stomach trouble, and but it was like every time I ate peanuts, I thought it was the correlation. What it was the correlation on a medication I take, and it was a little bit too strong for me. And I was eating the peanuts mainly on the day that I took that. So it took me a while to figure that out. So I just canceled them. Like I stopped eating peanuts, but I still was having the problems. So I just started weeding things out and figuring out what it was. And I've come back and been eating some peanuts, and I haven't had any trouble. I'm thankful because I really do like some peanuts. Oh, I like, of course, cashews. I like mixed nuts, pistachio. My goodness, there's many of them. There's some that I don't care for as much, but I do like some peanuts. So there you go. And also, yeah, I was going to look this up because it said do a grouch a favor day. And of course, they've got I'll show this in a second. It's a call to kindness. Everyone knows a grouch. I hope nobody's thinking that I'm that, although my granddaughter may say that he's kind of grouchy sometimes. And some of us may even be guilty of being one. On February 16th, maybe you can be the one to find the sweeter side of a grouch. So for some, it's in their nature to be grouches all the time, while others may just be having a rough day or two. On National Do a Grouch a Favor Day, we have an opportunity to turn the grouch's frown upside down. The grouch that might be a friend, relative, a coworker, a boss, a neighbor, or someone who lives in your house. The favor you do on National Do a Grouch a Favor Day can be simple or elaborate. Either way, doing them a favor is going to feel right for you. So they give you some opportunities, visit with them, offer to do a difficult project, find their favorite baked good and surprise them. Listen to their grumblings and grumble along with them just for the day. You might find out some of the reasons why they're such a grump. And then it said research ways to do other ideas. Grouch frequently asked questions. I'm not a grouch. Can I celebrate this day? Yes, please do. Give a shout out to your favorite grouch or try one of the suggestions above. Are grouches always grouchy? No. Even the grouchiest grouch has their non-grouchy moments. Pay attention. You might discover what brings a smile to their faces. So we'll see. And then let me put this up. Oh my goodness. Of course, some of our pet friends, well, they would probably agree with us that this is probably the face they have. Oh, cat says, leave me alone. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. I'd say most people, not everybody. Some people are sunshine all the time. I try to be, but I would have to admit, probably there's been times here and there. I say probably, may just say I know that there's been times that I think I can remember my wife. It's been few and far between, but she would say something like, "Boy, you're such a grouch today." I guess we get, and I think probably all of us men can do that. We get so focused on something, we're not realizing it, but we're coming across as kind of grumpy and grouchy, especially if things are not done. I know my granddaughter would probably say that. Yeah, he's kind of grouchy sometimes. But she is too. She's not a morning person. So in the mornings, you got to watch, it's a little bit of eggshells. She gives you that look. She's one of those that you go to work on a Monday and you're smiling and you're saying, hey, it's great to be here. It's a Monday like today. And they get the look you get. Yeah, that's kind of how she would look. Some birthdays today. We don't cover every birthday, but we do point out a few. And one of those I wanted to point out, let me get down there, because at first I didn't think it was going to be that good. Then I said, oh, there is some that I really want to recognize. Today is Chris Farley's, the great and legendary Chris Farley. who sadly left us, God, so long ago. It's hard to believe. Can you believe it has been? He died in 1997. He was born a year before me. And man, what that's a guy that brought a lot of laughter to a lot of people. And I mean, we his career really was cut short, much like who he sort of emulated was John Belushi, much the same way. So his movie career was small, really, but like John Belushi's, but they were the same pathway coming from Saturday Night Live, all the funny there to getting into the movies, and just didn't have that music part, but he kind of did a little bit, but amazing, amazing comic, and the physical part of comedy, which I really like. I'm a big fan of physical comedy, the how to fall down, the look, he was a master at it. Galileo, who died well before Chris Farley. In fact, he died in 1642. No, I was not there. But Galileo, birthday today. Matt Groening, 72, cartoonist, seen a lot of his stuff. Susan B. Anthony, that we get a coin from now. She died in 1906. Her birthday as well today. One of the funniest guys that ever lived to me. Another one who's really fantastic at physical comedy and a great tandem with Tim Conway, the great Harvey Korman, who left us in 2008. Was one of the funniest guys, and just the way that his physical comedy and just a funny guy, but in tandem with people on the Carol Burnett show. It's legendary status. Harvey Korman, funny guy. Those bits, especially between you and Tim, the dentist. If you've never watched Tim Conway and Harvey Korman on The Dentist, you're missing a tremendous blessing. I'm just telling you. Go watch it. If you need a laugh today, go watch Korman as the patient and Tim Conway as the dentist. And there's several moments. And of course, the running gag is when they're laughing, it's killing them. So there's points in that they're laughing as well. And go check that out. I think you'll find a tremendous blessing. Doc, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Doc the Butcher, love the name. Enjoyed meeting up with you the other day, at least through the chat, and learn a little bit about you. And we want to continue to talk to you. Christopher McDonald, 71 a day, actor. Shout out to him. And let's see, I think that's probably it. Alex Gonzalez, baseball player, 49 today. If it's your birthday, happy birthday to you, or if it was over the weekend, because sometimes we fail to cover the weekend on Monday. And so maybe we need to start doing that. Just add to a little bit. If it was your birthday over the weekend, shout out to you. Happy birthday to you. Let's see here. What else in this day in history? Let's see. One thing I wanted to mention was in 1923. This one has caused a lot of, it's controversial. And there's a lot of mystery to it. But King Tut's tomb was unsealed in 1923 after, being sealed thousands of years. And movies have been made about it, TV documentaries and stuff. A lot of things befell those who unsealed the tomb. Some say curses, whatever. But anyway, what an amazing look into the past. And, some say we should never even be looking into those things, honor the dead. It's like I said, it's a little controversial, but that was a big one. I mean, and they continued to uncover stuff for decades, and, so it interesting. Let's see. That's about it I want to cover on that. Our city shout out today, small town. We like to give small town, mid-sized to small shout outs today. We're going to the great state of Kentucky, and we're going to Harlan, Kentucky. Harlan, as of 2020, had a population of, nice number, 1776. As I look back and shout out to our country as a date, 1776. It is one of 3 Kentucky county seats to share its name with the county, the others being Greenup and Henderson. Harlan was first settled by Samuel and Chloe Howard in 1796 upon the founding of Harlan County, named for Kentucky pioneer Silas Harlan. In 1819, the Howards donated 12 acres of land to serve as the county seat. The community there was already known as Mount Pleasant, apparently owing to a nearby Indian mound. A post office was established in 1828, but called Harlan Courthouse due to another Mount Pleasant prompting that name. During the war between the states, Confederate raiders under General Humphrey Marshall occupied the town. The local postmaster renamed the community Spurlock after himself. How does Humphrey Marshall become? That was the general. Oh, that's the postmaster. So I guess his name was Spurlock. They don't give his name. In October 1863, the courthouse was burnt down in reprisal for Union destruction of a courthouse in Lee County, Virginia. And in 1865, the post office was renamed Harlan. There you go. That's how you got your name. Although the community was formally incorporated in 1884 by the state assembly as Mount Pleasant, the town was already usually called Harlan Courthouse or Harlan Town by its inhabitants. The city's term of incorporation were amended to change the name to Harlan in 1912, 1 year before the Louisville and Nashville Railroad had arrived in Harlan and prompted massive growth. So anyway, shout out to Harlan. If you live in Harlan, shout out to you. We salute you. Small town shout out today of Harlan. It's been a while since we've been in Kentucky for a town, so that's kind of cool. I like that. Give them a little love. If you are from a small town, you'd like to submit for us to include, we'll be glad to do that. We take nominations for that. Just pick those out and kind of go where it leads me. And we like to do that. I kind of got that idea. We've been doing that for well over a year. I remember the old Hee Haw, and they would do the little city or area sign or whatever, and population, whatever. You got to be old like me to remember that. But I always liked that. They were coming up out of the corn. I always liked that little spot in Hee Haw. And it kind of came back when we started a podcast. And I said, I would like to do that in the mornings. I think it would be a fun thing to do. So we started doing that and doing little shout outs to different towns. We have done quite a few of them over the last year or so. Pretty sure it's been over a year that we've done that. So try to do that. There might have been just some days we missed, things going on, but we try to stay consistent with it. So anyway, let's get a little bit of news. There's and talking about some things that are going on, and including the president. He, of course, with the peace board, the Gaza board, to bring peace there to Gaza. He is extending $5 billion. This aid skips the UN, and there's a lot of people that thinks that maybe, and Hamas, that we are going to bypass the UN and do our own thing. There's a lot of talk about that. Maybe, I don't know what the president's vision is for this, but he's definitely working another side of the street than the UN. And I have no problem with it. I can't stand the UN. I think they're a bunch of frauds and crooks and terrorists. I mean, what has the UN ever done for America, honestly? And we spend a lot of money there. I say redirect that money, and they're just a bunch of pompous liars and evil people for the most part to get up there, and they want to control what we do here in America. And I say, no, the heck with you. We don't need the UN. If everybody else needs it, wants to join it, fine. We go to the beat of our own drum. It's a proposed $5 billion Gaza humanitarian and reconstruction initiative was announced Sunday. So yesterday, the president announced this. I saw it late yesterday. It will bypass the United Nations and keep aid away from Hamas terrorists. Fred Fleets, a former National Security Council chief of staff under Trump, said Sunday on Newsmax. However, he warned on Newsmax Sunday report that the plans will be a difficult haul because of Hamas' lack of cooperation. Well, of course, Hamas is not going to lay down their weapons. The terrorists are not going to stop, and they're just not going to do it. I mean, their charter is for the destruction of Israel. They're not going to change that. So I think that at some point, to keep the peace, they'll have to root out and continue to root out those who try to reorganize and reestablish Hamas in the region. But this is all I live. Get into the land. And this is why I didn't really want us involved there, because it can continue to strike you back and be ugly and cause us problems. But anyway, he is really wanting to bring this initiative there and to bring peace. But they said that they have pledged more than $5 billion across the member states for the reconstruction and humanitarian aid assistance. He said that member states have committed thousands of personnel for a UN authorized stabilization force and local police. He said Hamas must carry out full and immediate demilitarization. Well, they'll happen when they pull the from their cold dead hands the AK-47s and other weapons of that like. I would say, my guess. I just don't think you'll ever change their mind. They've not come up and laid down their weapons and said, "We want to live in an area of peace. We'll work with you, and we want to just a seat at the board or something." That ain't going to happen, and so it's going to be something they'll have to continue to root out. And this, I'm really wondering what effect this stabilization force will have. Will they even have the ability to fire back? I don't know. That's where the sticky part of all this is. He said it's not going to go through the corrupt United Nations. It's not going to be given to the people of, or it's not going to be given to the hands of terrorists or jihadists. It's going to be given to the people of Gaza. It's actually going to be used to rebuild Gaza. He said. Fleet said Israel supports the initiative, adding, "It's a great initiative. Israel is on board, and I'm very optimistic. We will see." He also said on Sunday he discussed the growing cartel drone threat, saying the U.S. may need to consider land strikes as cartels shift tactics. I think. Can you imagine? Can you just imagine now? Think about this. This is why I said we're going to have to hit these cartels very hard in Mexico, because with the invention of the drone and used as a weapon, and the ability to launch missiles and move them, if they start doing this, people on the southern border. Think about this. People that live, American citizens living on the border areas, quite a range can be covered by these things. Drones could be striking cities and homes and businesses and schools and whatever on our southern border. Now, people that sort of said I was really they couldn't believe I was saying that it shouldn't, we shouldn't go in there and hit those cartels. I said we needed a buffer zone. If Mexico cannot control the problem, that's why I always said you can't have your border being, a sieve, and you can't allow things to be a threat right on the other side. And our border agents for some time have taken shots across the border from those cartel members into United States territory, and in some cases from our own territory, they have been fired upon. So we've been securing the border, but we're going to have a buffer zone. If Mexico cannot handle the problem, and I don't see that they can, we're going to have a DMZ line. I mean, it's just the way it's going to have to be. Now, drones can fly a long way, but this would give us an opportunity to set up a lot of things to knock those down, to hit those before they ever get anywhere near the border region. And I just think at some point they're going to have to really consider this. If they can work in tandem with Mexico, fine. If not, I know that there are some areas you can't obviously do that because they come right up to the border of little cities. But a lot of this is just open land. It's just open land, and this is where a lot of these come through at. But the drones is a big problem, and now I'm glad to see that they're admitting that. They say it's it's a growing cartel threat, and he said they may need to consider land strikes as cartels shift tactics. I think the U.S. has to do that, Fleet said. And we're seeing a new threat from drones because the flow of illegal immigrants across the border is stopping. So there's now the prospect, he says, I think it's happening, that these drug cartels are sending drugs into our country using drones. That's another thing they can do. But they're using drones for surveillance. And so they can, target our people, our defenses, our security personnel. It's serious business. I mean, these things are highly... one thing that the war between Russia and Ukraine has done, it has escalated the ability of the drone, from and they can make these rapidly. They can make them in mass, and there's a couple different kinds, and there's a kind that they can make that is not it's not affected by the jamming signals. There is a lot of that goes on, but there is a kind that Russia, Ukraine's been playing catch up. But Russia has the kind that they develop that are done by 3-man teams, and they're connected by wire. And these things can go up for several miles. The jamming doesn't work on them, and they can even see the video right there on the ground. They can infiltrate. And think about this: they could actually infiltrate be right across the border or inside the United States if they got in. But they could pinpoint an area to bring these down and be coordinating people on the other side where to get the drugs out. I mean, these things are fairly high tech, but they're in the grand scheme of things for the money that a cartel can bring in. They're not that expensive. For me and you, it might be expensive. For them, it's not. And so, as tactics shift, we're going to have to meet that. So, and we're going to have to hit the cartels. There's just no doubt about it. It's just going to be a thing, and we know that this was there was a report, and I saw this. I think this was on Friday. I can't remember what day it was that they shut the airspace around. FAA did around El Paso for 10 days. Well, that was actually back a little bit. There were reports about them for 10 days amid concern over an alleged cartel drone. He said the situation was alarming. That's pretty concerning when you hear that the airspace around El Paso is being turned down or being closed down. I think I heard about it late last week. This is the tip of the iceberg on a huge threat to our country. And so just think about, how that could be used and how they could, not only just landing drugs, but, impact our airspace and cause us a lot of frustration in the United States. So they're going to have to do something. He said he pointed to developments in Ukraine and said drones are becoming harder to stop. That's what I said. The technology, the war over there has allowed this. The weapons of war always get better during war because you sharpen your skills. You find out what doesn't work. You manufacture what does work, and it's continue point counterpoint where they try to stop what you've done and you try to get around that. That's just the way it works. That's like people trying to steal cars or get into your computer systems. We have quite a bit of update going on in our business because of ongoing threats of cyber warfare. And that has continued to be the case. I mean, it's just not that we didn't just start. It's continual changing of things about how we do things. And that's going on pretty quickly. And it tells me there's a pretty good threat out there because they're moving pretty rapidly to get folks set up on some different things at work. He said they're becoming harder to stop. We're seeing in the war in Ukraine, drones are being flown using, which I just said, the fiber optic cable that can't be jammed electronically. We can shoot high power lasers at them. That's what they were doing near El Paso. We have a huge border with Mexico and are not ready for this threat from drone swarms. We have to do a lot more to defend our country. And good morning, Jerry. What's on the agenda today? Well, Jerry, I got work and work. Get the wife to the sons. She's had the health problems, and have someone there that is helping watch her. We'll just take her there, and she has her own little TV and area. So we're going to get her there this evening. We do have Michael Lippe. I hope I'm saying his name right. He's going to be a guest with us on the Dirt Report, our racing show, the Dirt Report of our racing hour. We'll talk about Daytona 500. We'll have our sports show. Biscuit Boy be in the house. And Dean and the Marine, we just call him Marine, will all be in the house tonight, late this afternoon. Kind of goes into the night. What's on your agenda today, brother? And I appreciate that also from Twitch. We've been getting more folks in Twitch, and I actually have Twitch up this morning live. I didn't always put that up, but I have it because we're kind of tied into the system. But I appreciate all those that have came in, and we'll say a good morning again to them. But I hope you're doing well, Jerry. Hope you had a good weekend. Sorry, my voice is wanting to act up again today. Let me come over to and catch the other side. Sorry, Spartan. Good to hear from you. I hadn't heard from you in a while. The biggest misconception about the pyramids is that the rocks have been imported from far away. The fact is they've been taken from the location site. Okay. The Gaza Plateau itself is a massive limestone outcrop. Oh, good information. Ernest, just reading that an Amazon delivery drone carrying some packages crashed and fell in an apartment complex in Texas. When was that? Because I did see video of one of the drones crashing into. It was pretty alarming. I mean, you imagine those blades start hitting things. I would hate such a dangerous surprise, the thing coming down on my house. Dang right. On second thought, if a drone carrying muffins or cupcakes or corn cakes crashes at my door, I won't mind. Absolutely, Ernest. Well, it could be carrying hot coffee. I don't know if they do that or not, but that would be interesting too if they did such a thing. So, I I don't know. But can you imagine living in a border region and drone from a foreign a drug cartel flying over your house? You know, dropping drugs out on your land. These ranchers that have thousands of acres. I mean, they do it usually near the border towns. Somebody goes and gets it, blah blah blah. But because of the border being, all that defense increasing, they're now probably going to be going out into coordinates. I mean, nowadays with technology, I mean, you could have things send encrypted. You could have people waiting at a location that out in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden the drone comes in, flying really low, and just drops the load off and goes. I mean, we're dealing with a whole new ball game now, and again, these could become weaponized. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen with this. They could actually use drones to try to hit our border agents and stuff. I mean, it's serious business. Like I said, right now it's just a way to try to keep making money, get the drugs in. But that same payload could be something else. And like I said, the technology is not for countries and individuals and terror organizations that have money. You can get the materials and you could mass produce those things in an underground lab and have them, there's just a lot of things they could do very quickly. I wonder what happened to the issue of police drones flying for surveillance in Florida. I don't know. Was I not? What were you? Many Floridians opposed it because they were worried about privacy, which I understand. I've told this before, and I don't know. My feeling was they were probably going to a place they were fixing to hit. This is a few years ago. The first time I ever saw a drone myself. My wife was doing a temp job at that time. Her job had shut down, and this before she retired. It's been a few years ago, and I was sitting there waiting on her to get off work. I was going to pick her up, and so there's a little bit of traffic going by, but it's not real heavy. But I thought I heard something, and out of the flash of the sunlight hitting, and so I just looked up. I just happened to look up. I didn't even really hear it. I think maybe I thought I did. I'm not even sure. It was a big size drone. I mean, big. First time I'd ever seen one of these little tiny $30 ones you get at Home Depot or Lowe's or something. This was a pretty big one, big wingspan and everything. It was flying over just above the treetops. And my feeling is it was probably the police were using it to go surveil a house that they were going to, maybe serve a warrant at or watch them for drugs or whatever. So I didn't know. I haven't kept up with that, and I understand that, but I don't know. We could look into that. That's a good question. I don't know about that, but I have said this, and I've made people mad about it. If your drone or whatever comes near my, way up in the sky, I'm never going to know it's there. But if you come down and you're flying your little drone around my house and try to look at windows and stuff like that, drone's going down. And I've had people tell me, you can't do that. That's my property. I said, well, you become picking it up at the street. It's just going to be in the trash can when I get done with it. You're not going to fly your drone around. Not that they would want to. I'm just saying that this has happened in cases where people have flown these drones and tried to peek in with people's windows, like bathrooms and stuff. And there was one case where the police tried to get the people in trouble, saying that, and they had clearance, but he said, no, you don't. You're not flying your drone. This was out west somewhere. I remember when it happened. He said he just searched it. Ernest did, and this was from August 25. Florida's new drone laws quietly allow surveillance across access for insurers and local authorities. Yay. I second it. Down the drone if it crosses my backyard. Yeah, I'm not going to put up with it. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I get, like I've said, I enjoy watching drone footage of people flying way up, going and looking at snowfall, or maybe there's been floods, or just landscapes, just following along the beauty, color cruise, whatever you want to call it, or going out and there's people fishing off a dock. But at the moment that they start coming down and gotten in those people's in their personal space, people took their fishing line, rods and smacked them, knocked them down and stuff. Shotgun practice, yeah, Jerry. I'm not going to put up with it. I'm not. And there's just some people, they don't have any. You give them a toy, they get a toy, and they think now that they can just do whatever they want. And I've made a couple of people mad about that who have drones, and I told them flat out, that's great. I enjoy what you're doing, but when they were talking about how they were flying down, and that's what made me say that is it sounded like to me they were going down into people's areas, into their property, and getting some close up stuff. And I said, you do that at my house, your drone is done. And they said, you can't do that. And I said, watch me. You can be mad all you want, but I'm not going to put up with it. So yeah, and I don't think most people are going to put up with that. So it is a crazy world we live in now. I mean, things just like that. I mean, at first it was like only a few people had them. Now it's like everybody has a drone. I mean, you can get them for nothing. They're all different sizes and shapes, and for just a few bucks, I mean, you can. I mean, for what it costs you to go out and eat with a family of two or three, you can have a drone now and have that thing up in the air and fly a few miles. They won't go real far, but drones have been. There's been people who have not lost control of them. They malfunctioned, and all of a sudden you got a drone just flying around. They can't and it crashes out somewhere. Well, what if that crashes into your kiddo? Think about it. What if your kids are outside playing? Next thing you know, the drone comes flying down into your kid's backyard, and hits your kid in the head or something with blades going on. I mean, there's a lot to consider here. I just think we have to be careful with that. Have a great, yeah. Hey man, go enjoy. You go get your tea, man. Thank you for the well wishes, and you too, Ernest, from Pakistan. Did I get it close? Over there for a while. Spartan, incoming self-aware machines are the greatest risk to humanity. From my view, humanity is suicidal with pushing for AGI. Yeah, I mean, because mankind doesn't. Some humans do, but mankind in general doesn't have a kill switch on how to go down the wrong road. They'll do whatever strikes their fancy. It's like, oh, let's do this now. Oh, let's do this. And even if there's mechanisms in place that say you shouldn't do it, or even if they outlaw it, people are going to do it. And the technology is there, and they're going to just further increase this. And that's why humanity is in is in trouble, and is going to be in such trouble with a lot of these systems, because evil men will do evil things. And sometimes good men do evil things because they're presented with, the opportunity to do evil, and they have they're just, all of a sudden go down that road and they find themselves, just sick. I mean, I don't know what causes men and women to cross over into full-fledged, bad things. I mean, because some people, they're born, they were brought up in a bad family, and they've just turned bad, and they stay bad. I think any man can change with the power of Jesus, but a lot of men are just bad, mankind. But some people are up, through drugs and mental illness or whatever, or they're just presented with a temptation, and the temptation is, wow, I could do that. And it's like David on the top. He looked, he saw, but then he lusted and he acted on it. And I was watching one of those one day where a guy they come because he was on his wife was oblivious. He was on social media. Well, it was kind of hidden, but it was the police who set it up. He was downloading images of kiddos and pedophile, and he said his wife had no idea. He had a secret account, and he would do it when she was at work. And here they was married. I think they had a couple of kids. I mean, things are bad. Things have went way off base. And he said it started with somebody sent me something. I looked at it, and then there he went. And he was pretty honest about the whole thing. And so mankind is evil and sinful, and they, not all, but many will just go to the base things. If you present them with bad things, they'll just continue to do bad things. Some of them will, and I mean, nobody's born to become the monster that they become. I mean, but they take a journey down that path, And next thing you know, they don't have what is right and what is wrong anymore. And that's the problem. We have people in power, even here in the United States, who they don't have an idea of what is wrong. Even laws to them are stupid, and they shouldn't be in place. They defend what we see as the evil or the illegal. It could be evil and illegal, but they what is law to them? And we see a whole generation of people who have no idea. We know that they have no idea of how our country came to be. They don't understand the concept of laws. They think protest now is to do anything you want to do, as long as you believe that something is wrong or an injustice or whatever. Protest to them is doing anything and everything. They have no idea of peaceful protest. That's not even in their vernacular. Protest means I'm going to stop it. I'm a freedom fighter. I'm going to fight for the freedom that I think is right. So they don't even have a self awareness of what laws are, and they melt down. We see these videos of these people melting down, and they're okay with whatever happens to these people. They see, and the left just continues to throw around words like Nazi. You know, they just label anything that they want somebody to hate, and not it's Nazi or something, or communist or whatever, and then they try to turn people to it. And people, arresting people for being here illegally or whatever becomes it's a Nazi thing or something. Whereas, I don't recall us lining up and digging graves and, bullets to the head and dropping them in there, or, cutting off of body parts and stuff like. I mean, let's look at what happened in that horrible time frame of history, and we don't see that, but yet to them, that's what that is. And it really lessens what happened for people's families during that time, that went through torture and horrible things and lost their family members in these horrible activities that went on by many different people. And so it just becomes like whatever you want to do is right. And again, that's scary because there's no basis. But there is a basis, and it's called, all of our laws are based on the word of God. God gave us law, things that are right or wrong. And anyway, we just live. To give you an idea, I was juxtapose these two things together. I was watching a video of young people that said they were protesting, and one of them tried to stop someone from being arrested. I don't remember if it was because they were illegal or they had acted up really bad. So another girl, and all the young people are using the F word like constantly, and it's just like ugly, just constantly calling these agents that. And one of them bumps into the officer and gets, shoved back very violently. And I think they might have even got arrested, but these other young people are just going ballistic. They're just protesting. No, you ran into a police officer, doing their duty, and they have no concept of that. And I was sitting here watching all these young people, and most of them were girls, and they were just shouting and screaming and using these expletives. And I thought, my goodness, what has happened here? How did we get all these, young people into that spot? So I was doing security, as I do on Saturdays, just Saturdays, in front of the big box store. It was late, and a family comes out, and I was saying good night to the kiddos, and they were saying bye. And there was a young woman. She had two young kids. She goes to the car, one of the last people out, and they load up into the car. I can hear music going, but I didn't hear what it was. Well, she opened the door up to get back and go fix something with one of the kids in the back seat. Well, it's a song, and I don't particularly care for that style of music, but it's a song, and a female is singing. And the whole song that I heard with these young kids that were around 4 or 5 years old, that's just, they were no more older than that, maybe 6, but no older than that. The whole song, to me, all it was using two words with a few little words to tie them together, was the F word and the N word. Just blasted. I thought, really? Okay, you're free and you're an adult if that's what you listen to. But these little kids, just inundated. When you imagine going down the road, and they're like sponges, they're little minds, and they're just soaking that up, and they're going to be singing that in their sleep. And it just sickened me. It sickened me in my gut. And I thought, yeah, that's how we get there. Is we just, I mean, we say in society, some things are just not okay to say. But then there's music out there that is building this up and presenting it to a whole generation of people, and that's supposedly okay. It's a double standard that, anyway. I just, it's like whatever happened to wholesome families. And I'm not saying they're evil people. I'm saying that's poor parenting. I'll say it. I'll say that. But I don't know how they were raised. They're young, very young people having young people, and but they're oblivious. I mean, they're okay. They like that music. Why? I don't know. But then when you become a parent, you're supposed to mature up at least for the kids. There's certain things you don't do around the kids, right? If they're going to do it, they do it as adults, but they don't do it around the kids. And here the kids are just, that's the way they're going to hear it. Nobody can shield them from hearing it. No matter how hard you try, you're going to somewhere in the world there's going to be people saying and doing bad things. You have to sometimes shield their eyes or ears and remove them from situations, but you don't pump it through the speakers into 4 or 5, 6-year-old kids and just continue to pump that kind of thing. And what else are they hearing? That's just what I heard. And I'm like, how foolish. To me, I'm not their judge, but I'll just say, to me, that's a massive fail. And I just shook my head. I was like, oh Lord. It just there's a part of me that angers me, sure. I mean, because I'm like, I wouldn't want my kiddos, man. I mean, my kiddos would not hear that. They never heard anything like that. They would not. And I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm saying there's just some things you don't do. You just don't. There's, that's why, there used to be, and the FCC has lightened up. Used to be a time on television during the family viewing hour, you weren't allowed to do much. And now that's kind of went out the window. I mean, just about, they have not loosened all of it. Well, what is it? They just let anything and everything go now. So again, you gotta monitor that. There's things you can do with your televisions and all the electronics to shield your children from those things, and have control of that and see what their viewing is from everything from a phone to the tablet to the television. there's TV Guardian is one you can put on. They're not perfect. There are things that can slip through, but if you're going to have those things, you want to have control over that. But you certainly just don't give a free rein to that stuff, for little kids. I mean, and there's just some things, that they're not. Yeah, there is no family viewing time anymore. You're right, Jerry. And I think that was, what was it, 5 to 8 or 9 or somewhere in there. It was considered a time where, they kept a tight clamp on that. There were cable channels that you could get later on, the Showtimes, the HBO, that would go beyond that. But in the regular network television, that time frame was highly protected. There's a lot of things they did not allow. Over the last 20 years or so, that has really lessened. I mean, and they're trying to change it even still. And there's some battlegrounds going on about that. But what is family time? Turn the thing off. Just talk as a family, and that's another thing. We don't really spend time as families and talking to each other like we should. I'm not saying everybody here listening. I'm just saying, in general, as you look at families, it is definitely not like it used to be. Well, that's amazing. Let me get a couple of more here quickly. That one just there's a lot in that. And there's a lot in that article that really I wanted to speak on. There was another one I wanted to admit, because the funding battle is still going on. Borders our home money to the Dems. DHS funding fight should protect us, and it should. So that's there's the ongoing battle about the funding for us and what's going to happen with that. The Dems are standing in the way. Senator Mike Lee ended the zombie filibuster to pass the Save America Act. He was able to get the 50 Republican senators to sign on as co-sponsors for the Save America Act this weekend. And now faces the hurdle of the Senate filibuster, which gives 41 obstructionists the power to block bills from the floor. Lee is hoping to end that without the nuclear option and force Democrats to speak out against an issue, polling at 80% of those for voter ID. And the president has said that there's going to be voter ID, that no matter what happens, there's going to be voter ID. So this is going to be the big thing headed to the midterms. Some of the states have some early voting that is just now kicking in, especially here in North Georgia, for the Marjorie Taylor Greene's former seat, or the seat that she formerly occupied. Uh, but there may be still not that in some areas if you have some of that. But the president's looking to do some sort of executive action about voter ID. I don't know, because I'm not sure how that works because of the states' rights and things. But but there's a lot of Democrats that are now signing up and saying, look, we show IDs for everything else, and but there's some things that they're holding back on that he wants to go. The president, I'm saying, he wants to go forward with the paper ballots. Total, I don't, there's going to be a fight against that. So I don't know where that's kind of going to go, but that's another big one that's, as we kick off our Monday, that will be in the news. Some may not care, but the ongoing search for Savannah Guthrie's mom is still a mystery. There's still a lot of leads. They've upped the amount of money that can be gotten for the leading of information to her finding her has been raised up. They did over the weekend further hit some places, I think, but it's still a great mystery, and nobody knows what's going on with that. And you can see whether somebody likes her or not. That's not the point of this when we're talking about Savannah Guthrie, but you can see the wear on her over this last 3 weeks or whatever it's been. You can see she has taking a break from the network until this is over. So she's on a leave, and you can see. I mean, how could you focus with your mom missing like that? So my prayers are out to them. We may not agree politically or about a lot of things, but I think we should, let's pray for people that have. She's not the only one. Missing people are all across the country, and my heart goes out to them. You just don't have closure. You don't know what's happened. And of course, this is a high profile case, kidnapping, and someone that's, it's always going to get more attention. Some people get mad about that, but that's news, and that's just always the way it is. And maybe by the attention on that, other attention will be placed on local. And the local authorities don't give up. They work cold cases. They continue to work on it. And sometimes after decades, through new medical or science, DNA and things, there's even DNA has increased in their ability of that in the last few years. They can now tell a lot of things they couldn't even tell before with DNA. And so some of those cold cases are going back and looking at it. People are being arrested and convicted because the person obviously was, at the crime scene and mixed with the blood of the person missing. They still haven't found them, and they're hopeful that those people would tell what they did. So as she said in her video, it's never too late, and it is not too late. They can, look. I mean, they're going to go down. These people are not going to get away with this. Whether she's alive or not, I don't know, but they'll be found out. There is so much attention to this. They're not going to slip away into the night. Whoever they are. I think it's a team. I don't think it's one person. I think it's probably a team, a small team, but there's probably 2 or 3 that's involved, and they're going to be found. And but the real story is, is she living? And I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine my wife or my mama or my grandmother or somebody being done that way. And there's an anger for me on it. I mean, this sweet lady, she ain't got she has this. Nobody wants to see that happen. It shouldn't have happened to her. So these people deserve whatever they get, in my opinion. And so it is part of the news. And so we're going to mention that as part of that. Let's see if there's anything else that I wanted to mention. RFK Jr., we haven't talked about him lately. He's looking to re-examine a processed food loophole. This was one that came out yesterday as well. The FDA will consider a petition to revoke the safety statuses of dozens of processed refined carbohydrates unless food companies can prove they are safe and not contributing to health issues and obesity. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said in remarks that aired Sunday. He said the FDA would take up a request by former agency Commissioner David Kessler, who asked it last August to remove corn syrup and dozens of other sweeteners and starches from the list of ingredients that's classified as GRAS are generally recognized as safe. We will act on David Kessler's petition, Kennedy told CBS 60 Minutes program, and the questions that he's asking are questions that FDA should have been asking a long, long time ago. GRAS's classification was enacted by Congress in 1958. I didn't know that. Has allowed the use of ingredients without a full government safety review because it lets food companies verify the safety of those items without oversight. Interesting. He said he intends to close that loophole if he gets White House approval. There is no way for any American to know if a product is safe if it is ultra processed, Kennedy said on 60 Minutes. Food companies already adhere to the FDA's science and risk-based evaluation of ingredients in the food supply, said the Consumer Brands Association, a trade group, in a statement. The GRAS process plays an important role in enabling companies to innovate to meet customer or consumer demand. We stand ready to work with HHS and FDA as they look to revise GRAS to GRAS, however we say that, to continue to ensure the analysis of safe ingredients and increase consumer transparency. Kessler is a pediatrician, was FDA commissioner from 1990 to 1997. One of the things he tried to do during his tenure was to regulate tobacco under the agency. That failed, but it helped put a greater spotlight on the tobacco industry. He now wants the FDA to take the same approach with large food companies. And so, I just think that you can have a balance there of both of those things, and make sure that that safety is being adhered to while allowing companies to do business about that. So, I think that can be done. So, we will see. Let's see here. Anything else? And I'm going to have to go in a minute because I do need to get the wife ready and up and all those things, and it's going to take a few minutes. No school today, though, so no school. We will see you tonight. We'll try to be in around 5:45, 6 o'clock, somewhere right in there, for those that like the racing show. If you don't like that, obviously you're not going to tune in. That's fine. Every show, maybe not for every person. But we will have our racing hour and sports to include the interview with Michael Lippe, and looking forward to that, hearing his story. And that's what it's all about. And we've got some amazing stories on the way. I'm telling you, Thursday we're going to tape a recording because there's an album release from this wonderful gifted young lady who has a connection to a famous legendary blues player. And we're going to let her tell her story along with, I think we're going to have some of her new music. We can't release it until the album release, which is this month. So, but I think it's later in the month. I want to say near the end of the month. I'll have to ask her when we get closer to Thursday. I don't think this is going to be live. I think we'll record it, but we'll release it as soon as we can, and we'll make an announcement about it. And it's very cool. It was supposed to be last Thursday, but she had to switch that, and so we're still thankful that we didn't get that we still have the interview. I just seen her online, and I thought, what a person that I want to talk to. I really want to amazing voice. My gosh. And she's a singer songwriter, and she has a story. So that's what we want to do. We share the story. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate everybody coming in that did, or watching, or listening, or sharing. Give us a like, a follow, a share. That just helps. It just helps. I'm not trying to drive huge numbers or anything like that, but it does help us to get out there a little bit. And don't forget, really today we're kicking off, and you may have seen our rebranding for the Wolf Nation Coffee, and we love the coffee. I just got 2 in, and here's a satisfied customer. Video 2 will go up probably this evening, but here's one of those satisfied customers of the Wolf Nation Coffee, and then we'll follow this up and go out. Have a great day, everybody, and God bless. And let me put, and then after this plays, I'll put on the overlay, and we'll go out. Have a great day, and God bless.
Hi, this is Cowboy Cook with Wolf Nation. I'm trying the Cowboy Blend coffee, and I like it. And coffee up, pray up, God bless. Thank you.